Wow. Welcome to Target, the show for masculinity and success. And I'm your host, Atlas Altman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use. We're sharing stories from highly successful men so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted. All right, welcome back to Targeted. Today I have an awesome guest. It's somebody I just met, but I already feel like we've had a lifetime together. I read his books and I was like, man, I feel like that. I can relate with him on that. He's such a great guy. His name is Sean Kanan. He's an Emmy Award-winning actor, producer, and best-selling author. He's been on a lot of TV. You know who he is. You've seen him before. I'm going to have Jackson put in some photos. Come on, punk, come on! And now you know exactly who he is. But I just wanted to introduce Sean. Sean, you want to say hello to everyone?
Hi, everyone. I'm just excited to be here. I really appreciate that you flew into LA to do this.
Man.
I'm honored to be here.
It's so good seeing you
too,
in person. First time I saw you, I was like, I know that guy. I know. Do you get that a lot? Like where people stop you and they're like, yes, I know you.
I get it. It's usually like, I think he shops at my market, or, they think they've seen me somewhere and then they sort of put it together.
All right. Let me ask you just right out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
How do you trust somebody to come on a TV program or a show or start working with them? How is that process for you?
How do I trust someone? You mean, for instance, this podcast?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have to trust them. I trust myself. I know who I am. I know that whatever I'm asked, I'm going to be authentic and honest about it. And that's the only thing I have control over.
That's awesome. Well, the reason why I ask is because you've been in this business for a very long time. And one of the phrases that I keyed in on that I hadn't heard before is lost dangerous. And I was like, I should have heard that before, because around this area, LA, Hollywood, all of this area, there are people that are trying to use people left and right. And I know it's a game, but I always ask people that have played the game, how do you trust people with your time? Because you don't get it back.
I think it's an interesting point. This may be a little tangential, but it's kind of like a pyramid. When you're in your 20s, and you're still figuring out who you are, you can be friends with a lot of different people. And as you get older and you learn who you are and what you want to do, the pool of potential people that you want to get involved with becomes smaller and smaller, but it becomes more refined.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I've certainly made my fair share of mistakes during the 40 years that I've been in this business, but I've learned from them, not always the first time. And now at the point where I am with both my acting career and my producing career, I guess I've got a pretty good bullshit detector, and it serves me pretty well.
Let me dive into your book.
Sure.
So we met, just for everyone's information, we met at Author of the Year here in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. This year. It was a first-time event hosted by Nim Stant, and she did a fantastic job.
We actually met in Arizona.
Yeah, we did, actually.
That one, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw that you did TEDx South Lake.
Yeah.
So did I.
You did TEDx South Lake. I did South Lake Tahoe.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, we did different.
So it was Arizona then. That's where we met.
Yeah. We met for the first time there.
Yeah.
But we really started talking here.
Yeah.
And he's written a book. It's an award-winning book. It's a best-selling book. He's written a bunch of books, but the one that I read that really hit me hard was Way of the Cobra.
Way of the Cobra, yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that book, go pick it up. It's worth it. It's on Audible. You can listen to it while you work out. It's a fantastic read. I highly suggest it.
Thank you.
But in there, you talked about the different personality types, and you really started to pull people out of their shell, if they're listening, through a structure that looks like karate or Asian martial arts.
Right.
What made you do it in that style?
I'll be really honest. I was working on a personal development book for a while. And then when Cobra Kai became this, international phenomenon, I said to myself, I can write this book in its original incarnation and probably 10 people will read it. 5 of them will be my family. Or I can restructure it, basically put the same information in the book, but utilize the format of me being the sensei. The chapters go from white belt to black belt. And for those people that aren't familiar with it, it's not a book about Cobra Kai or Karate Kid. If you're a fan, you'll probably enjoy it about 5-10% more. But Cobra is an acronym. It's formed from character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And it turned out to be one of the smartest decisions I made, because, I kind of rode the wave of all the press from Cobra Kai, and it really allowed me to expose the book to a fan base that was predisposed to being more likely to want to read the book, in addition to a lot of other people.
Is that what inspired your TEDx too? Did the book lead into the TEDx, or how did that sphere work?
Well, I mean, most of what I talk about in the TEDx is drawn from, it's kind of an amalgamation of stuff from the 3 books in the Way of the Cobra series. And, it's autobiographical, specifically the story I talk about when I had my almost life-ending experience doing Karate Kid 3.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, 'cause I didn't know about it until I started reading it. And I'm like,
gnarly.
How did I not know this? But yeah, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. So, it's basically all drawn from my books and my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's jump in there. You open the door.
Sure.
Now we got to walk through the threshold. So as I was reading the book, it starts off with like, this almost didn't happen. Like your whole book series is based off of something that almost didn't happen if you didn't have the intestinal fortitude and the drive to actually push through the mental game that you started. But starting physically, how did you? Let's talk about that. Like what specific problem did you have? Can you talk about that?
Sure. Well, the genesis of this book was on my 50th birthday. We have a place in Palm Springs, and so we're very involved in the community down there. And my wife got me a star on the Palm Springs Walk of Fame, and the mayor was there, and Martin Cove came and spoke, and people said a bunch of nice things about me. And, from the outside, I think I probably, to most people, had the trappings of a guy that was fairly successful. And I really just felt like a fraud. I mean, I knew what was going on inside. I was really, really struggling with alcohol. I was overweight. I was really hanging onto my job by a thread. And, at a certain point, I remember it wasn't right during my 50th birthday, but it was soon after. And my wife, God bless her, she said, "Listen, I love you more than anything. And please tell me I didn't back the wrong horse." And it just cut to the quick. Wow. She never threatened to leave me. She never yelled at me. And I was like, I am not going to drag this amazing woman down because I can't get a hold of my emotions. And that began a journey of me completely changing my life. And by the time I had gotten sober and I lost 50 pounds and, all the things that I wanted to accomplish that seemed so difficult, it was like the clouds parted and shit just started raining down on me abundance. Created a series called Studio City. We got nominated for 18, 19 Emmys, won for, best show, blah, 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 blah. And I don't say that to impress anyone.
Right.
It's like Tony Robbins says, I say to impress upon you what you can do. And I knew I couldn't put this book out if I wasn't living my life in accordance with what I was writing. It's kind of like, Doc Holliday says, my hypocrisy only goes so far. And what I love about the book is it keeps me on point,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people look at someone that they perceive to be successful. And it's like that iceberg thing.
Yeah.
You see the iceberg sticking out. You don't see all the sacrifice and the trials and tribulations and failures.
Yeah.
And I wanted people to know that I was a guy that was really struggling. And there were a lot of times when I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the other side and be a successful individual, or I'm going to swirl into, mediocrity. And I was able to do it. And I wanted to teach people how I did it.
Wow, that's powerful. Tony Robbins is a great example. You brought him up. Have you ever heard of him talk about the slapback or the snapback?
The snapback, not specifically. What's that in reference to?
So it's basically someone starts at a journey and then they achieve massive success.
Right.
And then at one moment,
yeah,
someone talks to them, in your case, your wife, or they feel inside that they're a fraud and they snap back to where they started.
Yeah.
And they feel like they have to start the journey again.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt?
I think that I had a lot of imposter syndrome for a long time, and I had low self-esteem. And I think that I also had a lot of social anxiety. And for me, drinking was a way of self-medicating and sort of feeling okay. But once I kind of dealt with stuff inside of me and fixed it, I didn't need that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And I tried to stop drinking for a long time, and it was always kind of like I'm like holding on. It's not like that anymore. And it was just a profound paradigm shift. And somebody also said one thing to me that really resonated in addition to what my wife said. They said, would you give up one thing to have everything? And I thought about that, and I was like, why am I holding on to this so tight? Now, I could quote a bunch of stuff like, I'm also a big proponent of the Joseph Campbell quote. I'm probably going to butcher it, but he says something to the extent of the treasure that you seek lives in the cave that you fear to enter. And I feared to enter the cave of getting sober because it's all the bullshit like, well, I won't be as creative, complete horse shit. I'm going to be boring, blah, blah, blah. And my life now is more exciting and better than it's ever been. But I had to go in and do battle with the dragon and come out the other side.
That's awesome. And the dragon analogy is so visual.
Yeah. And we all have one, right?
Yeah.
It's like, everybody is fighting a private war that other people don't know about. And if you can just address it and overcome it, it's like your life changes. You've learned that lesson and the universe will stop giving it to you,
Yeah, I do. And you're right. Everyone's got a dragon. So I've been doing this informally for about 6 years, and I've been in the top 1% of the top 1% organizations.
Amazing.
And again, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me.
No, but it's impressive.
But whenever you get to that level, you start looking around like, holy crap, like these people are the real deal. How am I here?
Yeah.
And it's battling dragons, man. Yeah.
You got to stop saying that. How am I here? I'm not a big fan of false modesty. I'm not saying that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's you've heard the Malcolm Gladwell thing, the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
I thought about that one time. I was like, 10,000 hours. Yeah. And then I started thinking all the times that I've gone to auditions and not got them. Yeah. The more than 1,500 network television shows that I've done, and the films I've said, I put in my 10,000 hours. Yeah. I deserve to be here, and you deserve to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do it as false modesty. I think a lot of people feel that way.
I think you can't get complacent.
Yeah.
You can take your little victory laps.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do, it's like you got to be looking up to whatever that next peak is.
Yeah, I heard it said once there was a coach of a women's basketball team, I believe she was, and she said, whenever you get to the top, the air is thin and the real estate is low.
Yeah.
So you can't stay there. You got to find some place else to go.
Yeah.
And that rhymed because I did that.
And you this is something that maybe I do still struggle with it, but I'm at least aware of it. And so I'm on the path, is that comfort is your enemy. Comfort breeds complacency. And it's kind of like with a pro fighter, like in Rocky III, remember? Yeah. Mick says to him, the worst thing that ever happened to you, Rock, was you got civilized. And it's true. You can't allow yourself to get too comfortable, or you, like in my case as an actor, you start becoming redundant in what you do as an actor. It no longer becomes fresh and interesting and out of the box. Whatever it is, you got to push yourself.
Yeah. All right. Well, Speaking of something outside of the box, I watched a recent film that you were in, and I know it's going to be making its rounds, but it's called The Persian Rug.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watched it, I saw you as a French guy.
Yeah.
Which is that the first time you've ever done that?
It is. And I have to tell you, of all the accents that you can do, for actors, French is a notoriously difficult one. It really is, because it's that fine line between, sounding like a caricature of Maurice Chevalier and getting it right. And they hired me. I didn't audition for it. They just hired me. Wow. Had no idea if I could do a French accent. And I went into, I don't want to say panic mode, but I went into, okay, I have got a very, very short amount of time, maybe a couple weeks. Yeah. And I got a terrific dialect coach named Scott Moffat, and just worked relentlessly with him, because I was like, I am not going to be the guy, God willing, I'm not going to be the guy that everyone says, hey, it was a great film, but Sean Kanan, French accent. I was like, I'm at least going to give it the best that I can. That is the film I want to see. I want to keep this going. I have a lunch right now. I see you at 6. Nikki will give you my address.
Of course. Thank you.
Sean Kanan nailed the French
Thank
accent.
you.
I couldn't do anything. I was like, wow. Did they dub this over? I was watching your lips like, no, that's real.
That was me.
That was your, how long? You said a couple weeks?
I had a couple weeks to do. I'm a good mimic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm good with impersonations. I speak Italian. Yeah. I've studied Mandarin and still do for a while. So I have a good ear for it. And I did study French a little bit, but, yeah, I literally had to kind of phonetically go over each word, and it's how you do it, how you say it. And, it was fun. I like the challenge. Yeah. And then you got to forget about it, because you got to do the acting. You can't be thinking about the accent. Yeah,
the accent, it flowed really well. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So this is just a layman's perspective. When I was watching the film, I saw you come across as a bad guy, which I think you were trying to be the bad guy or the bad role in some way, but also personable. I was like, how is this working? Like, how did you fold those together?
I was not trying to come across as the bad guy, because bad guys don't think they're bad guys.
Yeah, right.
I teach acting, and one of the things that I talk about is I say, okay, imagine that you get the lead in the new Steven Spielberg biopic. You call your mom, you're all excited, and she's all excited, and you go, but Mom, I'm playing Adolf Hitler, one of the most loathsome human beings that ever walked the earth, right? Now,
that's a mom's heart.
But if you play Adolf Hitler as a villain who wanted to eradicate the Jews, you would be way off base. In his mind, it was to elevate the German people that were vanquished after World War I, and put them in a place where, in his mind, if I can do this, then I'm doing something great for the world. I mean, twisted, all that stuff, but you can't play someone as an asshole. You can't play someone as a bad guy. Right. You have to play what they're going after. So for me, I played that this guy was a really talented director, but part of his process was he needed to seduce his female lead so that she completely gave in to him, and they could then go on to make the best movie.
Yeah.
He was not a great guy. I mean, we would all say he wasn't.
Well, no, I mean, starting off, it didn't come across like that at all. You're 100% with my perception of, okay, what is going on here? He looks like he's extremely busy. There's a lot going on. There's levels to this that I haven't discovered. Let me watch more, right? And then when the great reveal, right? That's kind of how you exited that movie. And I was like, oh, yeah, now it all makes sense. Right? That's actually, this is legit. I like the way they did that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very timely too.
Very timely. Things have now calmed down with Iran.
Yeah.
But when I got this, I was like, wow, this is bonkers to be able to be in something that deals with a sociological phenomenon question of women's rights and empowerment in, this, or at least what was an autocratic theology in Iran. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's something that I might not, kind of out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to keep doing, is stuff that's out of my wheelhouse.
I always want to ask this, and I know a lot of people always want to ask this, but whenever you're doing a role like that and you research the role, I mean, how much do you actually research the role to play a character or produce or, direct all the things that you have in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
How much time does that actually consume?
I think it depends on what the role is.
Fair.
Part of being an effective actor is being an emotional detective. It's who is this person? You ask all these questions. What is their political affiliation? What is their level of education? What is their what is their backstory? All this stuff, and you create this composite in your head, and that's part of the fun. I really like that. Luckily, playing a guy that's a director is not that far afoot from me as a producer.
Right.
So that part wasn't, difficult for me. It was really, he's a French guy.
Yeah.
And I had to work on that whole thing.
Well, I liked it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
For what it's worth, I think it's gonna do really well. And
we shall see.
Yeah. So I'll put a link to that out there so you guys
Please.
can check that out as well. What are you working on now?
My wife and I are creative partners. We have a company called Flip Creative. We just finished a really exciting feature film. My wife, Michelle, directed it. We produced, and we're both hired to write it. It's set against the backdrop of the fentanyl and human trafficking crisis that unfolds during a California senatorial race. And I play the incumbent senator. And it's a female-driven action film that's a political thriller. We are now in post-production doing the editing.
Wow.
And we're really proud of it. And I'm so proud of my wife that she did this. It was her first big feature that she's directed, and she just crushed it. And, she and I work on a lot of stuff together. We co-authored Cobra Couples, which is the third book in the series.
That's awesome.
And it's also, as an actor, it's pretty great when you can say I sleep with the director. I know that I'm not going to get cut out of the film. But no, I'm really proud of it, and I think it's also incredibly timely.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. What's it called? Are you allowed?
Well, right now it's tentatively called The Body Man. So people always say, "What's a body man?" So if a bodyguard is defensive protection, a body man is offensive protection.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And so the film stars Jonathan Sheck, who he and I were in acting class together 35 years ago. A lot of people know him from That Thing You Do. Okay. He has his own series now called Blue Ridge. Emilio Rivera from Mayans. Tom Arnold is in it. Awesome. We got a really great cast. And we have a now actress named Kate Monroe, and it's her very first thing she's ever done. And she just crushed it. She's a force of nature, and I know you're going to be talking to her.
Yeah. Thank you for hooking that up.
Yeah.
I've been following Kate for a while on the news and then in her socials, and I love what she's doing. She's putting out a lot for the veteran community specifically.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got all of your acting and producing, and you've got this whole film world, and then you've got this author world, and then you kind of allude to it in your books. You have a family aspect too, and I got to tell you, I am engaged to someone with 5 kids.
We have a lot in common, don't we?
I noticed. I was like, I bet you he's made.
I married someone with 4.
I was like, okay.
Isn't it funny? Like I stopped drinking right around the time that they got older and moved out of the house. I don't know. Weird.
Coincidence. 100%. 100%. So as a busy, successful man, the family aspect.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
How do you separate? Do you involve them? How do you do that as Sean Kanan?
We're big fans of nepotism around my house. So my steps and my stepchildren, I consider my children.
Mm-hmm.
I have one child myself. So there's 5 of them. They're all older, ranging from 23 years old to 32, I think. Yeah. My stepson Peter is a 3-time Clio award-winning editor, so he's editing the film.
Wow.
My one stepdaughter Annie is a makeup artist. My other stepdaughter Juliet is a phenomenal actress who plays my daughter in Studio City, and she's terrific. And my other stepdaughter, Gigi, was one of the producers on The Body Man, and she was spectacular. So they all work with whatever it is. Like, that's what I love about my family. Whatever kind of seemingly harebrained scheme that I come up with, they're like, all right, let's do it. I'm suiting up. What are we doing? And my wife's like that too. And we just show up for each other. And, a lot of times they're successful. Sometimes they're not all winners, but we do it together.
This is so important for people to hear.
Yeah.
Because, and I've done this for years. And what I've seen at the heart of very successful men is some group, small group usually, that they can count on. And you just told me that that's your family.
Your tribe. You got to, you have to have that inner circle of people. I've been lucky. Like I always joke, I'm the same asshole I was, 40 years ago. And by that, I mean, all the sort of struggling with ego stuff, there was a lot of that when I first did Karate Kid 3. Here I am, this single guy, a little money in my pocket, living above the Sunset Strip in the 80s. You do the math, right? And I got that out of my system largely. So I don't really need to rely on my family to give me reality checks. I mean, they do sometimes, but it's not because of that. It's because I love and respect them and trust them, and they're all incredibly talented people, and I get to work with them.
Yeah.
And they're fun. You get to a point when, you have little kids.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that experience with them because they weren't my children when they were real little, but I had them starting when the twins were about 10. There was a point when I lived with 4 young girls, and like, I've never been in the military. I've never gotten a combat
well, you
medal,
should get a medal.
But exactly. It's really wonderful to have a group of people that you can trust and has your best interests at heart, and I have theirs.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good because it brings it back to where we started. It's all about who you let in your life.
Absolutely.
And, I watched your TED Talk, and we're going to put the link to that there.
Thank you.
And I saw a lot of that building of who you are in your messaging come through. And you can just tell with someone who has experience in finding the right crowd, you found them. And you probably live with them.
and listen, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've let people into my life that I shouldn't have. There are wolves in sheep's clothing.
Absolutely.
The people that are potentially dangerous that sometimes we give access into our life. They don't come with horns and a pitchfork always. And you learn, and hopefully you grow and you become more situationally aware with the people that you allow into your circle.
Yeah. I put it like this: be careful who you let in your life, because it'll change it.
Yeah.
But back to the whole thing, looking back now, if you can go back 10, 20, if you were the same guy that you say you are, but you could talk to that guy today, what would you tell, the guy who's trying out all of the different things to see if that's going to bring joy? What would you tell that guy 10 years ago, 20 years ago? What was the number one piece of advice you would give that person?
You're enough. You're enough. I think when, at least for me, when you're in your 20s, I felt the need to be overly demonstrative of who I thought I was. And it comes from a combination of desperately wanting something. In my case, it was, a career in entertainment.
Yeah.
And when you desperately want something, you're living in scarcity and not abundance. Mm-hmm. And I'm a huge proponent of the law of vibration. And when you're living in scarcity, the universe gives you more of what you're putting out there. Yeah. But when you just sort of are able to lean back and not need things, they come to you. You have to do the work.
Yeah.
But so consequently, I think a lot of times when I was younger, I pushed. I have to show you I'm a smart guy. I have to show you I'm a capable guy. And when you get rid of all that artifice and that you're enough walking through the door, people beat a path to your door.
That's so good. All right. Well, thanks, Sean. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely, man.
You have any words of wisdom you want to leave us with?
I thought I just gave some.
I'm just kidding.
I'm all out of wisdom, man. No, listen, I will say one thing. One thing that I've really learned in my life that has put me in good stead is if you want results, ignore them. Okay, now that sounds oxymoronic, right? But if you focus all your attention on creating a process for anything to achieve anything, and you continually do a self-diagnostic, you tweak what's not working, what's working, and you completely commit to the process and apply it consistently, you'll achieve the results. Because if you're focusing on results, you're not focusing completely on the present, So for me, that's what it is. Just focus on the process. The results will come.
I love that. Staying in the moment is so key.
Being present.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate everything you said. You dropped some knowledge on us, and I always love that.
Thank you.
You're extremely talented, extremely successful, and to share this time with us, I'm not placating here. I'm honored. Thank you so much for having
me too, and I hope we have a chance to do this again. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I want to thank your audience too. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, guys. If you are one of the hundreds of thousands of people just browsing, please stop and just give us a subscribe. We're growing at a couple thousand a week because of the words that you're hearing, and we want to continue growing. So subscribe. We get bigger guests, as you can see, every time you hit that button. So whatever your target is, whatever your goal is, stay on it. I'm Atlas Altman, and thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.
This is Atlas Altman. I am sitting here with my computer doing the final edits. My dog's just chilling out, and I'm looking for a Fight Scrub commercial. And instead of just finding one, I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on it, because hey, it's late, and why not listen to me since it's my show? This is something I found through a gym that I go to, and the guy who owns it, the guy who was on my show, is he's an amazing guy, and he tells a story on the show. But where this is a natural product. It is a clean product, not chemicals, and it helps you with anything that you do that you need to sanitize. So for me in MMA, when I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I can do into my really old age, when I'm broken, I can do Jiu-Jitsu, and I'll keep doing it. I get really sweaty, and then I don't want to smell like other dudes when I come home, and see the family and see my dog and all that. So I spray this stuff on me. I get in a car. My car doesn't smell bad, but then I feel cleaner. I'm not going to get any skin infections. It's an amazing product. It has different flavors of flavors. It's got different smells, but you can put it on your skin. You can spray it all over your clothes. You can spray it all over your gis. You can throw it in your gym bags. It's awesome. But if you play football and you have pads, it's awesome for that. Muay Thai, whenever I do Muay Thai or boxing, I take my boxing gloves off. I spray the crap out of it. It's a good thing to have. If you're using Clorox or whatever, this is a great alternative. I've been using it for a while. Highly recommend it. There's a link in my bio if you want a discount. Please use my link. I do this for people so that they can get the products that I use. This is one of them. Check it out. Fight Scrub. Check it out.